July 9th, 2026, 14:33 local time. The southern Red Sea, approximately 74 nautical miles northwest of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and 88 nautical miles west of the Yemeni port of Hodeidah. The early afternoon sky is a white-hot haze. Visibility reduced to 14 nautical miles by suspended dust from a Shamal wind that has been blowing northeast off the Arabian Peninsula since 9 o'clock. Air temperature at sea level is 46 degrees Celsius. The sea surface is a flat, metallic gray-brown. The Shamal suppressing any meaningful wave action. The sun is directly overhead, and the horizon shimmers in heat distortion that makes radar returns from the Yemeni coast inconsistent at ranges beyond 30 nautical miles. In Arleigh Burke, Flight 3 guided missile destroyer is holding a northwest heading at 14 knots, serving as the southern radar picket for Combined Task Force 153. The multinational maritime security force operating in the Red Sea under US naval leadership since 2022. The ship has been on station in this sector for 11 days. Its mission is threat detection, commercial vessel escort coordination, and forward air defense for the task force's logistics corridor running north toward the Suez Canal. The crew has been operating at FPCON, Charlie continuously since their arrival in theater. They have conducted 3 Houthi drone intercepts in the preceding 11 days. They have settled into the rhythm of sustained combat operations in a contested environment, alert, professional, and calibrated to the threat picture they know. The threat picture they know does not include what is being prepared 88 nautical miles to the east. Welcome. I'm your host at Navy Legends. Tonight, we are examining a weapon that Iranian defense engineers have been developing since 2018, that DIA analysts have been tracking since 2021, and that US Navy surface warfare planners have been quietly flagging as the single most tactically disruptive warhead variant in the Iranian ballistic missile inventory. Not because it is the largest, not because it is the fastest, but because of what it does to a ship's crew and internal systems in the seconds after detonation without ever penetrating the hull. The thermobaric warhead on a precision ballistic missile is not a new concept. What is new is its integration onto the Fateh 313, a solid fuel, road mobile, GPS, and terrain contour-guided short-range ballistic missile with a CEP of 8 meters that the IRGC Aerospace Force has been progressively refining since its first test in 2015. Tonight, we examine what an 8-meter CEP thermobaric detonation 14 meters from a destroyer superstructure does to the Aegis combat system, the crew operating it, and the tactical situation that results. This is a fictional simulation. Every system described is real. Every physical effect of thermobaric detonation on ship structures is grounded in documented blast physics research. Let's begin. The Fateh 313, Conqueror 313, is a single-stage, solid-fuel, short-range ballistic missile with a range of approximately 500 kilometers and a guidance system that integrates inertial navigation, GPS mid-course correction, and terrain contours matching in the terminal phase to achieve its documented CEP of 8 meters against fixed targets. Against a moving maritime target, the guidance system requires a real-time targeting update in the terminal phase. A data link transmission from an external sensor providing the target's current position and velocity within the final 40 seconds of flight. The IRGC had solved the moving target problem in 2024 through the integration of a high-altitude surveillance drone, providing continuous optical and radar tracking of surface vessels in the southern Red Sea. Transmitting targeting updates via encrypted burst data link to the missile's guidance computer through its terminal phase. The warhead variant employed was designated by Iranian defense sources as the TBMF-3T. Thermobaric missile, Fateh 313. Thermobaric. The warhead consisted of a primary dispersal charge and secondary ignition charge surrounding a 280-kilogram fuel-air explosive fill, ethylene oxide and aluminum powder, producing an overpressure wave of approximately 34 bar lasting 180 milliseconds, followed by a negative pressure phase of equivalent intensity. The physics of thermobaric detonation against a ship structure differ fundamentally from conventional high explosive. A conventional warhead produces a single brief pressure pulse from one direction. The thermobaric warhead produces a sustained overpressure wave that fills enclosed spaces, travels around corners, propagates through ventilation ducts and cable runs, and arrives at every interior surface simultaneously. Against a naval vessel, the overpressure wave enters through every opening and exposes every electronic component and every person in the affected zone to a sustained pressure event that a conventional blast at the same standoff distance would never reach. The IRGC operational plan for this engagement had been designated Moj-e-Garm, Warm Wave. It had been developed over 7 weeks and required 3 specific enabling conditions. A Shamal wind event reducing the destroyer's radar detection range of coastal launch positions, a southern Red Sea patrol position that placed the target within the Fateh 313's 500-kilometer range from launch sites in the Hudaydah Highlands, and the continuous availability of the IRGC's high-altitude targeting drone to provide terminal guidance updates. All 3 conditions were present on July 9th at 14:11, 22 minutes before our timestamp. An IRGC Shad 181 high-altitude long-endurance surveillance drone had reached its orbit position at 14,000 meters altitude, 110 kilometers east of the destroyer's position, and began transmitting continuous optical and synthetic aperture radar tracking data on the target via the encrypted burst data link. The Shahed 181 at 14,000 meters was above the destroyer's SPY-6 radar's optimal surface search processing range and was not detected as a threat contact. At 14:19:00, 2 Fateh 313 TBMF-3T missiles launched from mobile launcher vehicles in the Hudaydah Highlands at 14:19:00 and 14:19:06 respectively. A 6-second interval designed to produce a 6-second time-on-target spread that would force the destroyer's Aegis system to manage 2 simultaneous terminal phase engagements rather than a sequential ones. The USS BIRS satellite detected both launches at 14:19:09. The alert reached the destroyer at 14:19:44, 35 seconds after launch. The ship's SPY-6 radar had its own first contact on the inbound missiles at 14:19:51, as the Fateh 313s cleared their boost phase and their radar cross-section became detectable above the background clutter of the Shamal degraded environment. Time of flight from launch to target: approximately 4 minutes and 20 seconds at the engagement range of 88 nautical miles. The missiles would arrive at 14:23:20 and 14:23:26, respectively. The tactical action officer had the track data at 14:19:52 and immediately began the Aegis engagement sequence. 2 SM, 2 Block 3B rounds assigned to the first track. 2 SM, 2 Block 3B rounds assigned to the second track. Standard 2-round salvo doctrine. 4 interceptors total. The first SM-2 pair launched at 14:20:04. The second pair at 14:20:09. At 14:22:41. 39 seconds before projected impact on the first missile. The Fateh 313's guidance computer received its first terminal phase targeting update from the Shahed 181 drone. The update transmitted the destroyer's current position, heading, and speed with a positional accuracy of 3.1 meters. The guidance computer calculated the intercept solution and began executing minor lateral corrections to align the missile's impact point with the destroyer's projected position at impact time. The first SM-2, assigned to intercept the first Fateh 313, acquired its target at 14:22:48 and guided to intercept. The Fateh 313 was executing a series of small terminal corrections, 2 to 4 degree heading changes every 1.8 seconds as the targeting updates refined the intercept solution. Each correction was small enough that the SM-2's guidance system could update its intercept computation and maintain track. The SM-2 detonated at 14:23:07, 13 seconds before the Fateh 313's projected impact, at a range of 1.8 nautical miles from the ship. Proximity detonation. The Mk-137 fragmentation warheads pattern struck the Fateh 313's body section, shredding the guidance electronics and penetrating the warhead casing in 4 locations. The warhead did not detonate. A thermobaric warhead requires a 2-stage initiation sequence. dispersal charge first, then ignition charge 40 milliseconds later. And the sequential timing logic in the fusing system had been compromised by the fragmentation damage. The first Fateh 313 impacted the water 340 meters short of the ship at 14:23:19. Its damaged body cartwheeling at high speed across the sea surface before coming to rest. The thermobaric fill dispersed on water impact, but did not ignite without the functioning initiation sequence. No detonation. First missile, neutralized. The second SM-2, backup round for the first track, was redirected by the Aegis Engagement Manager to the second Fateh 313 track, joining the 2 rounds already assigned to it as a third interceptor on the more critical remaining threat. The second, Fateh 313, was 9 seconds behind the first and had been executing the same terminal correction sequence based on continuous Shahed 181 targeting updates. At 14:23:09, with 17 seconds remaining before projected impact, the Fateh 313 received a targeting update that showed the destroyer had altered course 14 degrees to starboard. The evasive maneuver the commanding officer had ordered at 14:19:52 when the SBIRS alert arrived. The guidance computer updated the intercept solution. New impact point, 22 meters forward of the original aim point on the ship's starboard side, at the base of the forward superstructure. The first SM-2 assigned to the second track detonated at 14:23:14. Proximity detonation at 2.2 nautical miles. The fragmentation pattern struck the Fateh 313's aft section, damaging one of the 4 tail fins and slightly destabilizing the missile's flight path. The destabilization produced a 0.8 degree deviation from the corrected intercept heading. A deviation that, at 14 seconds from impact and Mach 3.1 terminal velocity, translated to a lateral displacement of 14 meters at the projected impact point. The second SM-2 on the second track, now one of 3 interceptors pursuing the damaged but still flying Fateh 313, acquired at 14:23:17 and guided to intercept. The missile's destabilized flight path was producing irregular radar returns that the SM-2's seeker was processing as a series of conflicting target solutions. The seeker settled on the centroid of the irregular return and guided to detonation at 14:23:21. The detonation occurred 14 meters from the destroyer's starboard bow at an altitude of 6 meters above the sea surface. At 14 meters standoff, the Mk-137 fragmentation warhead's detonation destroyed the SM-2's body, as designed, and produced a blast wave and fragmentation pattern that struck the Fateh 313's warhead section directly. The thermobaric initiation sequence triggered. The dispersal charge fired at 14:23:21.000. The 280 kilogram ethylene oxide and aluminum powder mixture dispersed outward in a 14-meter radius cloud in 0.04 seconds. At 14 meters standoff from the ship's hull, the dispersal cloud enveloped the destroyer's forward superstructure, bridge windows, forward SPY 6 array face, and the forward VLS deck. The ignition charge fired at 14:23:21.040, 40 milliseconds after dispersal. The fuel-air detonation produced a fireball 28 meters in diameter and an overpressure wave of 34 bar, propagating outward at approximately 1,800 meters per second. At 14 meters from the hull, the overpressure wave struck the forward superstructure 0.008 seconds after ignition, before any person in the ship could perceive the detonation as having occurred. The forward SPY-6 radar array, whose face was 11 meters from the detonation center, absorbed an overpressure loading of approximately 28 bar. The array's structural mounting was designed to withstand 8 bar blast loading. The array face and its associated transmit-receive modules were comprehensively destroyed. The forward SPY-6 array was inoperable in 0.008 seconds. The bridge windows, standard naval glass with a blast rating of 6 bar, failed at 14:23:21.009. The overpressure wave entered the bridge through the failed window frames and propagated through the space, exposing every person on the bridge to a 22 bar overpressure event lasting 180 milliseconds. The officer of the deck, the conning officer, the helmsman, and 2 lookouts sustained barotrauma injuries. pulmonary contusion, tympanic membrane rupture, and disorientation from the pressure differential. None were incapacitated immediately. All 5 were functionally impaired. The pressure waves effect on the inner ear producing disorientation and balance disruption that rendered precise manual control of the ship temporarily impossible. The overpressure wave propagated through the bridge ventilation ducts into the Combat Information Center directly below. The CIC's air handling system, designed for chemical and biological agent filtration, provided a 40% pressure reduction relative to the bridge, exposing the CIC to approximately 13 bar of overpressure. Electronic equipment throughout the CIC experienced sudden pressure loading that collapsed cooling fans, cracked solder joints on circuit boards, and forced conductive contamination from condensation. The pressure differential producing instantaneous moisture deposition on warm electronic components across 7 of the CIC's 12 principal display and processing consoles. The Aegis combat system remained operational through its dedicated, hardened processing modules, but 7 operator consoles were inoperable. The negative pressure phase, the 180 millisecond suction phase following the positive overpressure wave, pulled the failed bridge window frames outward, further opening the bridge to the external environment, and created a partial vacuum in the forward equipment spaces that caused structural panel fasteners to pull through their mounting holes, detaching 3 equipment panels from their bulkhead mountings and exposing the wiring runs behind them. The forward DABLS deck, 9 meters from the detonation, absorbed the full overpressure loading across its exposed surface. The VLS hatches, rated for blast loading of 12 bars, did not fail. The missiles within the cells were undamaged, but the deck-mounted Mark 41 launcher electronics, the interface units that connect the ship's combat system to the individual launcher cells, sustained pressure damage that disrupted communications between the Aegis Engagement Manager and the forward VLS group. The forward VLS could no longer receive engagement commands from the combat system. The aft VLS group, 74 meters further aft, shielded by the ship's own superstructure from the direct overpressure wave, was undamaged and fully operational. At 14:23:22, 1 second after the detonation, the commanding officer was in the CIC. He had not been on the bridge. The CIC's overpressure exposure had produced a sharp concussive sensation, but not the incapacitating effect the bridge team had experienced. He was functional. He took stock in 4 seconds. Forward SPY-6 destroyed. 7 CIC consoles offline. Forward VLS communications disrupted. Bridge team impaired. Ship still making headway on last commanded course. He keyed the 1MC at 14:23:26. All hands, this is the captain. We have sustained a near-miss thermobaric detonation forward. Damage control teams report to forward superstructure. Medical teams to the bridge. Engineering maintain current speed and heading. Combat, shift all engagement authority to aft systems and aft SPY-6. We are still in the fight. The aft SPY-6 array, one of the Flight 3's 2 independent radar faces, mounted on the aft superstructure, was undamaged. The Aegis combat system, processing through its hardened modules, shifted its track management to the aft array within 14 seconds. The formation's Link 16 data network provided additional track data from the cruiser operating 34 nautical miles to the north, supplementing the aft array's coverage of the forward sector. The aft VLS fired 2 SM-2 rounds at 14:24:11, engaging a third Fateh 313 that the Shahed 181 drone, still on station, had guided to a follow-on launch at 14:20:18. A reserve round that the IRGC operational commander had held back for exactly this contingency. Both SM-2 interceptors acquired. Both missed. The third Fateh 313 was executing a more aggressive terminal maneuver sequence than the first 2, a 6-degree correction at 12-second intervals. The aft SPY-6's tracking geometry on the forward sector, degraded by the ship's own superstructure masking the direct line of sight, was producing tracking updates 0.4 seconds slower than the forward array would have. Each SM-6 fired from aft VLS achieved detonation within 2 to 4 meters of the Fateh 313, but without the kill probability of a direct kinetic hit. The third Fateh 313 impacted the water 41 meters off the ship's port bow. A near miss produced not by successful intercept, but by the terminal correction carrying the missile's aim point 41 meters past the ship when the Shahed 181's final targeting update, transmitted 8 seconds before impact, showed the ship had begun a hard turn to port as the commanding officer executed emergency evasive maneuvering. No second thermobaric detonation. The third missile impacted water without initiating its thermobaric sequence. Water impact without the fusing altitude trigger produced no fuel-air dispersal. 3. Fateh 3-1-3 missiles. 1 clean intercept. 1 thermobaric detonation at 14 meters. 1 water impact following failed intercepts offset by evasive maneuvering. The damage assessment at 14:31:00 established operational status. Forward SPY-6. Destroyed, 45-day repair minimum. Forward VLS launcher electronics. Disrupted, 6-hour restoration. 7. CIC consoles inoperable. 3 restorable within 4 hours. 4 requiring depot repair. Bridge team. 5 personnel with barotrauma injuries. 1 requiring medical evacuation within 6 hours. Ship's combat capability. Reduced but operational through aft systems. The counterstrike was authorized at 14:41, 18 minutes after the detonation. 4 FA-18Es already inbound. Launched at 14:28 under the Carrier Commanding Officer's emergency authority. JSOW strikes executed at 15:06. 3 of 4 launcher positions struck. 2 vehicles destroyed, 1 immobilized. The 4th vehicle had displaced 6.1 kilometers along a mountain track in 47 minutes. The Shahed 181 targeting drone was rendered inoperable by an AIM-120D at 15:03:11. It had operated undetected for 1 hour and 12 minutes at 14,000 meters altitude. The damaged destroyer arrived at Djibouti at 23:44 under its own power. The after-action review produced 3 findings, driving immediate changes across 5th Fleet. The first was the thermobaric overpressure propagation gap. The destroyer's blast protection standards had been designed against conventional high explosive at comparable standoff. The thermobaric warhead's extended duration overpressure produced effects at 14 meters that a conventional warhead would require 6 to 8 meters to achieve, effectively doubling the lethal radius for crew and electronics. Immediate blast protection upgrades for bridge windows and CIC ventilation isolation were directed for all Arleigh Burke class destroyers in 5th and 6th Fleet. The second was the forward array single-point failure gap. The destruction of the forward SPY-6 by thermobaric overpressure demonstrated that a proximity detonation near the forward superstructure could defeat one of the 2 arrays without penetrating the hull. Alternative array positioning geometries reducing forward exposure were directed for engineering review. The third was the terminal guidance drone detection gap. The Shahed 181 had operated at 14,000 meters for 72 minutes within 110 kilometers of the formation without detection. Slow-moving high-altitude drones fell below the watch team's track initiation priority thresholds. Revised protocols directing active investigation of all contacts above 10,000 meters within 150 kilometers of the formation were directed within 14 days. This is the tactical evolution that Navy Legends is documenting across this series. The systematic upgrading of delivery accuracy onto progressively more sophisticated warhead effects. The Fateh 313 with a conventional warhead is a precision strike weapon with a CEP of 8 meters. The Fateh 313 with a thermobaric warhead is a precision strike weapon that, at 14 meters standoff, achieves effects that a conventional warhead would require a direct hit to produce. The guidance accuracy did not change. The warhead changed. And that change doubled the engagement envelope within which the weapon can degrade a destroyer's combat effectiveness without penetrating its hull. 8 meters. CEP. 14 meters standoff. Forward. SPY-6 destroyed. 7. CIC consoles offline. 5 bridge personnel with barotrauma injuries. Forward VLS electronically disrupted. The ship remained in the fight through its aft systems. The counterstrike neutralized 3 of 4 launcher vehicles. The Shahed 181 was rendered inoperable before it could support additional launches. All of that is true. And also true is this. The ship absorbed a thermobaric detonation 14 meters from its superstructure because an SM-2 interceptor detonated 14 meters from the ship at the moment of thermobaric initiation. A geometry in which a successful intercept of the delivery vehicle produced the partial initiation of the warhead it was carrying. The intercept saved the ship from a direct hit. The intercept was also the proximate cause of the thermobaric event. That is the specific tactical problem the FATE 3-13T BM F3T poses. The warhead physics that make a near-miss intercept at close range a categorically different outcome from a near-miss intercept of a conventional warhead at the same distance. The Navy does not yet have a doctrine for that problem. That is the gap the IRGC engineered, tested in the Dashta Kavir Desert, and employed over the Red Sea on July 9, 2026. Stay informed. Stay vigilant. I'll see you in the next one.